Welcome back, American coin hunter, in the quiet world of everyday pocket change. The 2006 1-cent coin looks at first glance like nothing more than a common copper-colored piece that most people pass over without a second thought. Yet hidden inside this ordinary appearance is a story that stretches across American history: modern minting technology, rare minting errors, collector obsession, and astonishing claims of value that have pushed this small coin into conversations about fortunes, legends, and the possibility of life-changing discoveries. To understand why the 2006 1-cent coin has captured so much attention, it is important to imagine the United States in the mid-2000s, a period when billions of pennies were still being struck every year for circulation, even as debates raged about whether the cent itself should continue to exist. In that environment, the U.S. Mint produced the 2006 Lincoln cent, continuing the long tradition that began in 1909 when Abraham Lincoln first appeared on American coinage, a tribute to the nation's 16th president and a symbol recognized around the world. The 2006 1-cent coin carries a standard weight of approximately 2.5 grams, reflecting the modern copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982, where the coin consists of a zinc core with a thin outer layer of copper, giving it the familiar warm color. The diameter is about 19.05 millimeters, and the thickness is roughly 1.52 millimeters, measurements that remain consistent for decades so that vending machines, coin counters, and the public could rely on uniformity. On the obverse, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, continues to face right, carrying with it the same calm, yet resolute expression that has been part of American daily life for more than a century. The word liberty appears to the left, the date 2006 sits to the right, and above Lincoln's head the national motto, "In God We Trust," reminds viewers of the cultural values embedded in U.S. coinage. Below the date, the mint symbol tells a crucial part of the story, as coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, those from Denver bear a small d, and proof coins from San Francisco carry an S, each location contributing differently to rarity and potential value. On the reverse side, the 2006 1-cent coin still features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that began in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, is shown in careful architectural detail, with the seated statue of Lincoln visible between the central columns, a subtle detail that fascinated collectors for decades. Around the top edge runs "United States of America," while "E Pluribus Unum" arches above the memorial, and 1 cent is boldly inscribed at the bottom, clearly stating the coin's denomination. By 2006, this design was nearing the end of its long run, as it would be replaced in 2009 by new reverse designs, making the 2006 issue one of the final chapters in the Lincoln Memorial era. What truly elevates the 2006 1-cent coin from common change to legendary status in collector lore are the minting errors that have been discovered, rumored, and debated among numismatists. Errors are the heartbeat of coin collecting excitement, because they represent moments when the precision of industrial minting briefly failed, creating something unique in a sea of uniformity. Among the most talked about errors for the 2006 cent are doubled dies, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process. When doubling affects key areas like Lincoln's eye, the lettering of Liberty, or the date itself, collectors take notice, sometimes paying thousands or even millions depending on the strength and clarity of the doubling. Another category of error that has driven intense interest is the off-center strike, where the coin blank was not properly centered between the dies, resulting in a partial design and a crescent of blank space. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible, the more valuable the coin can become. Then there are broad strikes, where the coin was struck without the restraining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal and appear unusually thin at the edges. Clipped planchets, created when the metal strip was improperly fed into the blanking press, can leave curved or straight missing sections along the rim, adding another layer of intrigue. Perhaps the most sensational stories surrounding the 2006 1-cent coin involve transitional errors and wrong planchet strikes. Although 2006 cents were intended to be copper-plated zinc, reports and speculative discussions have circulated about coins struck on leftover copper planchets, or even on planchets intended for other denominations. A 2006 cent struck on a copper planchet would weigh around 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, instantly setting it apart under a scale. Even more dramatic would be a cent struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet, creating a coin that looks entirely wrong in size, color, and weight. Such pieces, if authenticated, can command staggering prices because they are tangible proof of a rare minting accident. The history behind why errors occur adds depth to the story. In 2006, the U.S. Mint was operating massive high-speed presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. While quality control systems were sophisticated, the sheer volume of production meant that occasional mistakes were inevitable. When dies wore out, when planchets jammed, or when alignment slipped for just a fraction of a second, an error coin could be born. Most were caught and destroyed, but a few escaped into circulation, where they could sit unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or a pocket for years before someone with a trained eye recognized their significance. The claim that a 2006 1-cent coin could be associated with values reaching as high as $160 million occupies a controversial and fascinating space in the numismatic world. While no standard circulated penny trades for such a sum in everyday markets, stories of extraordinary valuations often combine the highest theoretical rarity, perfect condition, historical importance, and intense collector demand into a single narrative. In some accounts, the figure represents the cumulative value of a hypothetical perfect error specimen if sold during a peak market frenzy, where billionaires compete for the ultimate rarity. In other discussions, the number symbolizes the total estimated market impact of all known rare 2006 error cents combined, rather than a single coin. These narratives, whether speculative or symbolic, fuel the imagination and keep collectors searching. Condition plays a crucial role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with mint state coins further divided into numerical grades up to MS 70. A 2006 cent with a dramatic error, preserved in pristine condition with full original luster and no signs of wear, can multiply in value compared to the same error found heavily circulated. Professional grading services authenticate and encapsulate such coins, providing confidence to buyers and sellers, and sometimes acting as the gateway to record-setting auction results. The modern coin market is influenced not only by traditional collectors, but also by investors, social media, and viral stories. Videos showcasing rare pennies found in circulation, dramatic close-ups of doubled lettering, and claims of 6-, 7-, or even 8-figure values have drawn millions of viewers. The 2006 1-cent coin benefits from this environment, where even a common date can become the star of a viral moment if tied to the right story. Online marketplaces, auction houses, and private sales all contribute to a constantly shifting perception of value, where rarity and hype intertwine. Beyond money, the 2006 1-cent coin represents continuity and change in American history. It stands near the end of a design era that began in the optimism of the late 1950s and concluded just before the Lincoln bicentennial redesigns. It reflects the industrial realities of modern minting while still carrying the same portrait introduced in the early 20th century. It bridges generations, from collectors who remember copper cents of their youth to younger enthusiasts discovering error hunting through online communities. For many people, the fascination lies not in guaranteed wealth, but in the possibility. The idea that a single cent, overlooked and underestimated, could hold extraordinary value captures something deeply human: the hope of discovery, the thrill of knowledge, and the belief that history and fortune can hide in plain sight. Whether the ultimate value is hundreds, thousands, or the legendary figure of $160 million, the story of the 2006 1-cent coin continues to inspire searches through pocket change, careful weighing on digital scales, and long nights studying magnified images for signs of doubling or misalignment. When people begin to look more deeply into the 2006 1-cent coin, especially in the context of rare errors and extraordinary market stories, the discussion naturally expands beyond the surface details and moves into how collectors actually search for, identify, and authenticate these coins. Because the difference between a common penny and a legendary one often comes down to microscopic details that only careful observation can reveal. Many experienced collectors start by examining the coin under strong magnification, sometimes using jeweler's loupes or digital microscopes, because errors like double dies are not always obvious to the naked eye. On a genuine double die 2006 cent, the doubling is part of the design itself, meaning the letters and numbers show clear separation, thickness, or notching rather than a flat, shelf-like appearance. This distinction is critical because machine doubling, which is far more common, usually adds little or no value compared to a true double die created during the die-making process. Weight testing is another essential step, especially when searching for wrong planchet or transitional errors. Since the standard 2006 cent weighs about 2.5 grams, even a small deviation can be a clue that something unusual has occurred. A coin weighing closer to 3.11 grams might indicate a copper planchet, while an even lighter or heavier weight could suggest a foreign planchet or another denomination's blank. Collectors often keep digital scales accurate to 2 decimal places, because a difference of just a few tenths of a gram can separate a normal coin from a potential rarity. Sound testing, where a coin is gently tapped to hear its ring, can also hint at different metal compositions, though this method is more subjective. The mint symbol on the 2006 cent plays a subtle but important role in the narrative of value. Philadelphia struck an enormous number of cents in 2006, making error coins from this mint statistically more likely to exist simply due to volume. Denver also produced hundreds of millions, and while errors from Denver are slightly scarcer, they are highly sought after, especially when paired with strong doubling or dramatic striking mistakes. San Francisco proof cents, struck with specially polished dies and planchets, introduce a different category entirely. Errors on proof coins are exceptionally rare because quality control is much stricter, so a 2006 proof cent with a genuine mint error could reach astonishing values, sometimes entering private collections where prices are not publicly disclosed. Stories spread online about extreme values, including the eye-catching figure of $160 million. It is important to understand how such numbers are sometimes constructed. In high-end numismatics, value is not always about recent auction prices alone. Instead, it can involve insured values, private treaty estimates, and hypothetical scenarios where the rarest known example of a coin is offered at a time of intense competition among wealthy collectors. If a single 2006 cent were discovered with multiple major errors combined, such as a double die obverse, wrong planchet strike, and pristine mint state condition, its uniqueness could place it beyond traditional price comparisons. In that context, figures like $160 million function as symbols of ultimate rarity rather than everyday market expectations. The psychology of collectors also plays a major role in driving prices. Coins are not just investments. They are historical artifacts that tell stories about technology, economics, and culture. The 2006 cent exists at a crossroads where traditional coin collecting meets modern digital hype. A video showcasing a rare error can reach millions of viewers in a matter of hours, instantly increasing demand and drawing new participants into the market. This surge of attention can temporarily inflate prices, especially for coins that already have genuine rarity. Over time, values may stabilize, but the most exceptional pieces often continue to climb as they become famous within the community. Another layer of intrigue surrounding the 2006 1-cent coin comes from the broader history of the penny itself. By 2006, inflation had already reduced the purchasing power of 1 cent to a fraction of what it once was, and discussions about eliminating the denomination were common. This context adds symbolic weight to any extraordinary penny because it represents a denomination fighting for relevance in the modern economy. When a penny from this era becomes extraordinarily valuable, it feels almost ironic, turning a symbol of minimal worth into an object of immense desire. Collectors who seriously believe they may have found a valuable 2006 error cent are strongly advised to seek professional authentication. Reputable grading services examine the coin's weight, composition, strike characteristics, and surface details, often using advanced equipment to detect alterations or counterfeit features. Encapsulation not only protects the coin but also provides a standardized grade that the market recognizes. Many legendary coins achieve their status only after being authenticated and publicized through major grading services, which then allowed them to be showcased at conventions, museums, or high-profile auctions. The journey of a rare coin from circulation to fame is often surprisingly ordinary at the beginning. A coin might sit in a roll from a bank, a coffee can in a garage, or a forgotten collection inherited from a relative. The moment of discovery can be quiet and personal, followed by months or even years of research, verification, and decision-making. Some owners choose to sell quickly, while others hold on to their coins, believing that rarity combined with time will only increase value. In the case of a hypothetical ultra-rare 2006 cent, the decision could involve lawyers, financial advisors, and security measures, underscoring how dramatically the meaning of a single cent can change. As interest in error coins continues to grow, educational resources have become more accessible than ever. Forums, books, online databases, and video tutorials allow collectors to compare their finds with documented examples. This shared knowledge has helped prevent misinformation while also fueling excitement. The 2006 cent benefits from this environment because each newly discovered error adds another chapter to its evolving story, reinforcing the idea that even modern coins can still surprise us. As the story of the 2006 1-cent coin continues to unfold, attention naturally turns to the global coin market and how modern collectors, investors, and even casual hobbyists interact with rarity in a digital age where information travels faster than ever before. Unlike earlier generations, where rare coins might remain unknown for decades, today a single discovery can be photographed, uploaded, discussed, and debated worldwide within hours. This instant exposure has transformed the way coins like the 2006 cent are perceived, sometimes elevating them from obscurity to legend almost overnight. When collectors across continents begin searching their own change jars after seeing a rare error example online, demand increases not only for the coin itself, but also for knowledge, tools, and authentication services. The role of auctions cannot be overlooked when discussing extraordinary valuations. Major auction houses have the power to legitimize a coin's status by placing it in a catalog alongside historically significant pieces. When a rare error coin appears in such an environment, surrounded by expert descriptions and high-resolution images, it gains credibility and desirability. Bidding wars can erupt, especially if the coin is unique or one of only a few known examples. Even if a 2006 cent has not publicly sold for tens or hundreds of millions, the mere possibility of such a sale becomes part of its mythology, reinforcing the idea that modern coins are still capable of achieving legendary status. Another important aspect is the science behind coin preservation. For a 2006 cent to achieve maximum value, especially in the context of rare errors, its surface condition must be exceptional. Exposure to moisture, chemicals, or improper cleaning can permanently damage a coin's surface, stripping away luster and microscopic details that graders rely on. Collectors who understand this treat their finds with extreme care, often handling them only by the edges and storing them in inert holders. A pristine coin tells a clearer story of its origin, making it easier for experts to confirm that an error is genuine and not the result of post-mint damage. The fascination with error coins also reflects a deeper appreciation for the complexity of minting technology. Each 2006 cent passed through a series of precise steps, from metal strip production to blanking, annealing, upsetting, striking, and inspection. An error at any stage could leave a permanent mark, transforming a routine object into a unique artifact. Understanding these processes allows collectors to classify errors accurately, distinguishing between those that occurred inside the mint and those caused by circulation damage. This knowledge is crucial because true mint errors carry legitimacy and value, while damaged coins do not, regardless of how unusual they may look. Cultural factors play a role as well. In many societies, coins symbolize luck, continuity, and history. The penny, in particular, is often associated with sayings about fortune and thrift. When a modern penny like the 2006 cent becomes associated with massive potential value, it resonates beyond the collecting community, capturing public imagination. Stories circulate of people paying off debts, funding education, or transforming their lives through rare coin discoveries, whether fully verified or partly exaggerated. These narratives reinforce the appeal of searching for hidden value in everyday objects. The international perspective adds another layer of interest. While the 2006 1-cent coin is a product of the United States, collectors worldwide participate in the market. Foreign collectors often view U.S. coins as symbols of American history and economic power, and rare examples can become status pieces in international collections. Exchange rates, global economic conditions, and cross-border auctions all influence how value is perceived and realized. A coin discovered in a small town could ultimately end up in a vault on the other side of the world, its journey reflecting the interconnected nature of modern collecting. Technological advancements have also changed how authenticity is verified. Beyond visual inspection, experts now use X-ray fluorescence analysis to determine metal composition without damaging the coin, confirming whether a 2006 cent truly matches or deviates from expected standards. Microscopic analysis can reveal die markers, flow lines, and other features that link a coin to a specific die pair, strengthening the case for authenticity. These tools reduce uncertainty and make it harder for counterfeit or altered coins to pass as genuine, protecting both buyers and sellers. As interest grows, educational outreach becomes increasingly important. Experienced numismatists often emphasize patience and skepticism, encouraging newcomers to learn before investing significant money. While the dream of discovering a $160 million penny is exciting, the reality is that true rarities are extremely scarce. However, this scarcity is precisely what makes the search compelling. Each roll of pennies opened, each coin examined under magnification, carries the possibility, however small, of uncovering something extraordinary. The 2006 1-cent coin thus occupies a unique position in modern numismatics. It is common enough that millions of people can realistically encounter one, yet complex enough that rare variants and errors can command intense attention. This duality keeps the story alive, blending accessibility with mystery. Even if most 2006 cents remain worth only their face value, the few that stand apart remind collectors why they fell in love with the hobby in the first place. As time passes, the number of undiscovered error coins inevitably decreases. Coins are lost, damaged, or removed from circulation, while others are found and documented. This gradual narrowing of the unknown adds urgency to the search, encouraging collectors to act sooner rather than later. Each year that goes by without a new major discovery increases the significance of those already known, potentially pushing values higher as competition intensifies. As we move even deeper into the story of the 2006 1-cent coin, the focus begins to shift toward long-term rarity and how time itself plays a critical role in shaping what future collectors may consider priceless. When these coins were first released into circulation, no one imagined that decades later people would still be discussing them with such intensity. Billions were struck, spent, dropped on sidewalks, pushed into vending machines, and forgotten in drawers. Over time, however, circulation naturally removes coins from existence. They are melted, damaged beyond recognition, or simply lost forever. This slow disappearance means that even modern coins can quietly transition from common to scarce, especially when specific error varieties are involved. Another powerful factor is generational change. As older collectors pass on their knowledge and collections, younger generations bring new perspectives, tools, and motivations. Many younger collectors are drawn in not by traditional albums, but by digital platforms, viral discoveries, and the promise of hidden value. The 2006 cent fits perfectly into this environment because it is modern enough to feel familiar, yet old enough to carry history. For someone born after 2006, this coin already represents a past era, one that predates major economic shifts, technological revolutions, and cultural changes. That emotional distance can increase interest, especially when combined with stories of extreme rarity and value. The idea of a penny being linked to enormous wealth also challenges conventional thinking about money and value. A 1-cent coin is designed to represent the smallest unit of currency, something often dismissed as insignificant. When that same object is discussed in terms of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars, it forces people to reconsider assumptions about worth. In numismatics, value is not dictated by denomination but by scarcity, demand, condition, and story. The 2006 1-cent coin becomes a perfect teaching example, illustrating how value is constructed rather than inherent. Collectors often talk about sleepers, coins that remain undervalued for years before suddenly attracting attention. Some believe that within the 2006 cent population, sleepers still exist, hidden in rolls or collections, waiting to be recognized. These might include subtle double dies that were overlooked, minor planchet errors dismissed as damage, or proof errors quietly sitting in collections without proper attribution. As research improves and databases expand, coins once thought ordinary can be reclassified, instantly changing their status and value. Market behavior also evolves with economic conditions. During times of uncertainty, tangible assets like rare coins often attract increased interest as alternatives to traditional investments. Coins are portable, historically resilient, and emotionally appealing. A rare 2006 cent with verified errors could appeal to both collectors and investors, bridging the gap between hobby and finance. In extreme cases, ultra-rare coins have been used as collateral, estate assets, or museum centerpieces, further elevating their perceived importance. The narrative surrounding the 2006 1-cent coin is also shaped by comparison to other famous modern errors. Coins like the 1995 double die cent or the 1983 copper cent were once dismissed as curiosities before becoming widely recognized and valuable. These precedents fuel belief that other modern cents, including those from 2006, could follow similar paths. Each confirmed discovery reinforces the idea that modern minting, despite its precision, is still capable of producing extraordinary mistakes. The human element remains at the center of all this. Behind every discovery is a person who noticed something unusual and chose to look closer. That moment of curiosity is what transforms a piece of change into a potential treasure. The 2006 cent story is filled with these moments, whether real or imagined, and they resonate because they are accessible. Anyone can participate. All it takes is attention, patience, and a willingness to learn. As collections grow more specialized, some collectors focus exclusively on a single year or denomination, building deep expertise. For such specialists, the 2006 cent becomes a universe of study, with die varieties, strike characteristics, and production quirks offering endless material for research. This specialization drives deeper understanding and often leads to new discoveries, as subtle patterns emerge that broad studies might miss. Museums and educational institutions also influence long-term value. When a coin or error variety is recognized as historically significant and included in exhibitions or reference works, its status is solidified. A 2006 cent that represents a notable minting anomaly or technological transition could eventually be documented in this way, ensuring its story is preserved for future generations. Once a coin enters this level of recognition, it rarely fades back into obscurity. Over time, myths and legends naturally develop around rare coins. Stories are repeated, embellished, and sometimes misunderstood. The figure of $160 million becomes part of this myth-making process, a symbol that captures attention even if it represents an extreme or theoretical scenario. In numismatics, myths often coexist with facts, and separating the two requires careful research. Yet myths also serve a purpose. They keep people engaged, curious, and searching. As the years continue to pass, the 2006 1-cent coin will increasingly be viewed through a historical lens. What was once modern will become vintage, and what was once common may become scarce. Errors that survived circulation and were preserved in high condition will stand out even more sharply against the backdrop of lost and damaged examples. In that future context, today's discussions may seem prophetic rather than exaggerated. As the exploration of the 2006 1-cent coin moves forward, it becomes impossible to ignore the emotional and psychological power that rare coins hold over people, especially when the object in question is something as familiar and underestimated as a penny. For many collectors, the attachment to a coin goes far beyond money. It becomes a symbol of patience, curiosity, and the reward that can come from paying attention to details others ignore. The 2006 cent embodies this idea perfectly, because it exists in such vast numbers that the idea of rarity feels almost contradictory. Yet that contradiction is exactly what fuels fascination. One of the most compelling aspects of the 2006 cent story is how it blurs the line between chance and knowledge. Someone with no background in numismatics could theoretically stumble upon a rare error just by coincidence, but recognizing its importance usually requires education and experience. This balance between luck and learning keeps people engaged. The more someone studies minting processes, die varieties, and known errors, the sharper their eye becomes, and the more likely they are to notice something unusual. Over time, what once looked like an ordinary coin can suddenly reveal subtle signs of uniqueness. The idea of discovery also connects deeply with human instinct. Throughout history, people have searched for hidden treasures, whether buried gold, lost artifacts, or valuable manuscripts. In the modern world, where much of the planet has been mapped and cataloged, the idea that treasure could still exist in everyday objects is incredibly appealing. The 2006 1-cent coin represents a modern version of this ancient dream. Instead of digging in the ground, people dig through change, rolls of coins, and old collections, hoping to uncover something extraordinary. As awareness grows, the community around error coins becomes stronger and more interconnected. Collectors share photographs, measurements, and theories, sometimes collaborating across continents to verify a single coin. Debates can be intense, especially when a potential new error variety is proposed. Some collectors approach these discussions cautiously, demanding strong evidence, while others are more open to new possibilities. This dynamic creates a self-correcting environment where only the most convincing discoveries gain acceptance over time. The role of documentation cannot be overstated. For a 2006 cent to achieve legendary status, it must be carefully documented, photographed, weighed, and analyzed. Detailed records allow future researchers to study the coin long after it changes hands. In this way, each rare coin contributes to the collective knowledge of numismatics. The more thoroughly a coin is documented, the harder it becomes for its significance to be dismissed or forgotten. Another layer to the story involves the contrast between face value and perceived value. A penny is legally worth 1 cent, yet the market assigns value based on entirely different criteria. This disconnect often fascinates people outside the collecting world, leading them to question how value is determined. The 2006 cent serves as a powerful example in these discussions, showing that value is a social agreement shaped by rarity, demand, and belief. When enough people agree that something is important, its value can rise far beyond its original purpose. As time goes on, nostalgia also begins to play a role. Coins are time capsules, preserving the design choices, materials, and cultural priorities of the era in which they were made. The 2006 cent reflects a period before major economic crises, before widespread digital payments, and before significant changes to U.S. coin designs. For future collectors, holding a 2006 penny may evoke memories or imagined histories of a simpler time, adding emotional value that complements its numismatic significance. The long-term survival of rare coins often depends on stewardship. Collectors who recognize the importance of their finds take steps to ensure they are preserved for future generations. This sense of responsibility transforms ownership into guardianship. A rare 2006 cent, especially one with a dramatic error, may be viewed not just as personal property, but as a small piece of shared history. Decisions about whether to sell, donate, or display such a coin are often made with this broader perspective in mind. Stories of missed opportunities also circulate within the community, serving as cautionary tales. People recall spending unusual coins before realizing their value, or cleaning coins in ways that permanently reduce their worth. These stories reinforce the importance of education and patience. In the context of the 2006 cent, they encourage people to pause before dismissing anything that looks slightly different from the norm. As research continues, new technologies may reveal details that were previously invisible. Advances in imaging, metallurgy, and data analysis could uncover patterns among 2006 cents that have not yet been recognized. What today appears to be a minor variation might tomorrow be understood as part of a larger error class. This possibility keeps the field dynamic and ensures that even well-studied coins can still surprise experts. The narrative surrounding the 2006 1-cent coin is therefore not static. It evolves with each new discovery, each new collector, and each new generation that takes interest. The idea of a penny connected to extraordinary wealth may sound improbable, but improbability is at the heart of all great discoveries. Without it, there would be no reason to search, study, or dream. As the story reaches its final stretch, the 2006 1-cent coin stands not just as a subject of study, but as a symbol of how perspective can completely transform meaning. What begins as a simple copper-colored disc, passed casually from hand to hand, becomes through attention and understanding a gateway into history, technology, and human ambition. The idea that something so small could carry such an enormous narrative is what gives the 2006 cent its lasting power. It is not only about metal, weight, or errors, but about the mindset that allows someone to see possibility where others see nothing. Over time, coins like the 2006 cent begin to separate into two very different destinies. Most will continue their quiet existence, worn smooth by circulation, eventually lost or destroyed. A very small number, however, will be paused in time, examined, protected, and remembered. These are the coins that escaped the normal path, either through a minting mistake, an unusual composition, or exceptional preservation. Once separated from the mass, they stop being money in the traditional sense and become artifacts, each one telling a story that can never be repeated in exactly the same way. The legend of extreme value, including figures like $160 million, should be understood as part of this transformation. Such numbers represent the outer limits of imagination and collecting, where uniqueness meets obsession and competition. They symbolize what happens when rarity becomes absolute and demand becomes emotional. Even if such values remain theoretical, they still serve a purpose by reminding people that value is not fixed and that markets are driven as much by belief and desire as by logic. The most important lesson hidden within the 2006 1-cent coin is awareness. Awareness of details, awareness of history, and awareness of the fact that systems created by humans are never perfect. Every error coin is proof that even the most advanced machines can slip, and that those slips can create something extraordinary. In a world increasingly dominated by automation and predictability, these imperfections feel almost poetic, turning mistakes into treasures. For collectors, the journey itself often becomes more meaningful than the destination. Searching rolls, examining coins under light, comparing tiny details, and learning the language of minting errors creates a deep connection to the object. The 2006 cent rewards patience and curiosity, teaching that knowledge grows slowly and that true understanding comes from repeated observation. Even when no rare coin is found, the process itself sharpens the eye and deepens appreciation. There is also something quietly powerful about the accessibility of this story. Unlike rare paintings, ancient manuscripts, or exclusive investments, the penny is something almost everyone has held. This shared experience makes the idea of discovery feel democratic. Anyone, regardless of background, could theoretically encounter a rare 2006 cent. That possibility keeps hope alive and keeps people looking, learning, and paying attention as years turn into decades. Future collectors will look back at the early 21st century with fresh eyes. They will study the 2006 cent as a product of its time, noting its materials, design, and production methods. Errors that seem rare today may become legendary tomorrow as surviving examples dwindle. The coins preserved now will shape how that era is remembered, carrying forward the fingerprints of machines, workers, and moments that no longer exist. In the end, the true value of the 2006 1-cent coin lies not only in what it might sell for, but in what it represents. It represents the idea that nothing should be dismissed too quickly, that history hides in ordinary places, and that curiosity can turn the smallest object into a lifelong fascination. Whether someone finds a rare error worth a fortune or simply gains a deeper appreciation for the coins they once ignored, the impact is real and lasting. So the next time a penny from 2006 rests in your hand, heavy with almost no monetary weight at all, remember that it carries more than its denomination suggests. It carries the echoes of machines striking metal at incredible speed, the quiet chants of imperfection, and the imagination of countless people who believe that extraordinary things can come from ordinary places. In that sense, the 2006 1-cent coin is already priceless because it reminds us that value is often hidden, waiting patiently for someone willing to look closer and believe that even the smallest detail can change everything.